So success is a choice, and so is struggling. Struggling can be just as hard on you as anything else. And so if you're feeling like you're struggling, look back and say, okay, what can I do to stop struggling? What can I do to change things so that I can be successful? And choose to take all of the paths that you need to be successful. It's not that there isn't times in our lives when we do struggle, but don't sit there and struggle for a long period of time. Realize that you're struggling. Reach out to someone for help. Take some initiatives and action to make that change. A couple of the things that I really focus on in myself or in people that I work with is first self-esteem, building your own self-esteem. You continually grow and become better. Growth comes from overcoming failures and not playing it safe and avoiding them. I'm just going to read a few things here. You may want to a screenshot or just take some notes, and I can share this slide deck if you're interested, because there's a lot of things to read here. But people with high self-esteem are risk takers. They have big dreams. They are achievers. And people with low self-esteem are unfocused, underachievers, easily frustrated. They lack discipline and have inability to finish things. They're critical and envious of others, and they create alibis for themselves and tend to blame others for everything. So having strong self-esteem helps you set yourself into a position where you can actually help others, which is what sales is all about. We're all there to help people with a different product or a different service that will enhance their lives or make their jobs easier, or anything that we'd be selling. Another one is setting demanding goals. One thing I say to myself quite often is I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying. And if you're trying and you're putting out the effort and you still fail, that's okay. But if you don't try at all, you automatically just failed. So always try, always be confident in yourself and try. Understanding your strengths, structure your goals so that they can help maximize your strengths. A lot of people will say, oh, I need to set goals so I can strengthen my weaknesses and I can overcome my weaknesses. And that's not necessarily the best thing to focus on. Your weaknesses will get stronger as you move forward. And you try and you strengthen and you lean on your strengths. You have natural abilities. Those are your strengths. Lean on those and learn how that they can be your assets. And don't set the bar too low. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. Don't sell yourself short. If you keep doing what's comfortable, then you're not growing. You're not getting better each day. It's challenging and it's difficult, but stretch yourself and push yourself to where it's just a little bit out of your comfort zone. And it's all about attitude, action, and persistence. And always be positive. Being positive is a discipline. We can't control things around us, but we can control our attitude. It is a daily effort for sure. Make an effort to look at things in a more positive light and focus on your strengths, just as I said a minute ago. And if you feel like your attitude is slipping, recognize it. Recognize why you're down. Take care of it. Omit it. Don't let it grow. If you need to get up and go take a walk, if you need to just refocus on something and just say, you know, I just can't do this right at this moment. I'm going to go do something else. Maybe it's time to just take a lunch break. But make sure that you think about your attitude and you keep that up. And establishing good habits. This is critical. Quitting becomes a habit. So don't quit. Every time you quit, it starts becoming more of a habit. And there's no quick fix. Nothing meaningful or lasting comes easy. So if you want to succeed, outwork everyone in sight, go the extra mile, do whatever it takes. If you're committed to your success and you're committed to overcoming challenges, you have to just stay the course. You have to stick with it. It's your choice whether you win or lose. Doesn't mean you're going to be the greatest of all time, but winning to yourself may mean something different than winning to someone else means. So always stay focused on that.
Prajakta Patil.
There we go. Okay, sorry. Then now we're going to jump into your product. So in your product, you could be selling a product or a solution, or a service. Any of these things could be in this bucket here. So you have to really decide, what is it that I am selling? What is it that my company puts out there? You might think, oh, I'm not really sure what everybody's selling here, but let's say if it was software. I've been selling software for the last, and technology for the last 11 or 12 years. And so we'll just go with that. We'll just pretend like everybody sells software. Well, I'm not selling software, really. What I'm selling is something that's going to be a solution for someone else. So let's talk about that. If you take all of your features and your benefits of everything that you're selling and you put them into a funnel and they all came out the other end, what is the one thing, truly the one thing that you sell? So right now I am working at Scorpion. And so for an example here, we do a lot of marketing, and we have a platform that helps people understand where their marketing budget is going. It's a kind of a bunch of things that come together, and we bring in leads and things like that. But when it comes down to the one thing that we bring for someone, really it's a personalized new customer that is just there for them. That's a lead that's brought right to them. So it's a very customized personal lead that's the right customer at the right time. So that's kind of without knowing what we do, that's kind of what that is. However, when you dive deeper, it's actually giving them control. It's solving a problem, because right now our customers are fighting to get other good customers, to keep business going. And so they end up in this battle to be the first one to call a customer. And then there's like 20 or 30 other people that will be calling this person and driving the person crazy. And that's a tough way. So it's whoever gets on that first. And it's a very frustrating world for our customers. And so what we really do is we bring them peace of mind to know that they'll have a continuous stream of customers that are actually there just specifically for them. And so that's really what we do. And that doesn't talk about our software or our platform or anything. This talks about the customer. So when you're thinking of what you do, think of it as what you do for your customer. What is that one thing? Why does the customer buy? So I'm going to tell you another quick story. So hopefully you guys like stories. I like to tell stories. I think they help understand what we're doing a little bit better. I previously sold a software for a company that did diagramming for engineers. Not really an exciting thing to sell. Engineers don't really like to talk to sales reps. So it's challenging. When I first started here, this was a new product, and they were trying to figure out how to take it to market and really how to make it effective for customers. Our competition was Microsoft, not a small company, but there really wasn't any other competition. This was the biggest software out there for engineers. They'd been around for 20 years. Everybody was using it. So we were going up against a really difficult challenge here. The difference between us and Microsoft is Microsoft's product was static. And so if you wanted to share a diagram, you would have to make a copy of it and send it to someone. Make a PDF or a screenshot of it and then send it to one of your coworkers. And then everybody would start working on different versions of it, because you had to literally inform everybody that there was a change. And our product was online. So it's kind of like Google Sheets, where you could share it with someone and everybody could start working on the same diagram. We knew that was powerful. And that was really where we started to go. So first you have to know your competition, who you're up against, know your customer, what's important to them, and then start refining what's unique about what you do. What is it that you actually do for people? So when we realized, okay, this is very unique, because these engineers need to be on the same page as each other. Well, why do they need to be on the same page? Well, they're working on company security, and they're working on company infrastructure and networks. These things are really critical to stay on the same page with. So as we started talking with customers, it took a little bit. It doesn't happen overnight. And when I'm saying this to you today, think of your one thing. This literally could take you another month to come up with what is that one thing, but you should kind of tweak it around and really start seeing it in a different light. Let me tell you, we did find that one thing. We realized that when there is any kind of a security breach or any kind of a breakdown, or anybody's website goes down, or anybody's software platform goes down, it's generally a lack of communication, or they need to get in there really quickly and analyze why it went down and how to get things back up. But when you have different engineers working on different versions of a diagram, there could be a problem. So just as an example there, and I'm not going to name the name of this company, but there was a company that was one of the big credit bureaus, and they had a breach. This breach cost their company, I think it was more than this, but the last I saw was $1.4 billion. That's huge. When I realized that they had this problem, I thought these guys probably had an engineer that was not on the same page as the rest of the company, that somebody was not seeing the right security protocol. So went into the customer, and it was a very powerful conversation to come in with that one thing. And I went high up in the organization and I said, the one thing that we do is keep all of your people on the same version. Everybody that's working on their security programs or their network or your infrastructure, they all have one source of truth. You don't need to worry about somebody being on version 3.4 and everybody else is on 3.6. Turned out that was literally what had caused the majority of this problem, was that somebody didn't have the right information. They were on an old version and they didn't keep the security up in one area, and it caused a breach where people could get in. So needless to say, that was one of the largest deals I sold while I was at that company. It wasn't the largest, but it was certainly the largest for that year. It was also the largest for the company that year. And it was because I could say that one thing and get into an executive and know that that was going to hit home with him. That hit home with every high-level executive that was worried about security in their company. So knowing that one thing, I could have gone in and said, we have a great diagramming software. You're able to drag and drop these beautiful pictures and these diagrams. You can do it quickly and easily, and everybody can be on the same document working at the same time. That's true. But an executive is going to be like, I have that. Microsoft gives that to me. We're doing a lot more than what your little product does. But I went in with something that was really mattered. It wasn't about our product. It was about their problem and how we solve that problem. So that is the one thing that you're trying to focus on. Excuse me. When you realize what your one thing is, the most impactful thing about what you're selling, make sure that every conversation leads to that one thing. That's going to be your focal point. And there's other avenues to get there, but once you know how impactful your product or your service is to the customer, and you can really iterate that in a simple, quick sentence, then you are really going to be on your way to having bigger conversations. You don't need to spend all of your time trying to explain what you do. You actually start then to begin to talk to the customer about why they need you. So now let's talk about the customer. What we have to do now is diagnose the problem that the customer has. If there's not a problem, there's not going to be a sale, because the only reason someone's going to buy something is because they're trying to resolve or fix a problem or make something better. They aren't just going out and buying things because everything's working great and they just like to shake things up a little. So if there's not a problem, there's not a sale. Just remember that. Now let's go to a doctor's office. This is just another little story to help you think through what we're talking about here. When you walk into the doctor's office, they greet you and they say, well, come back. We'll go to the room back here and wait for the doctor. On your way back there, you'll jump on the scales. They'll find out how much you weigh. And then you're going to go in and they're going to take your blood pressure. They're going to take your temperature. They're going to get all your vital statistics. Then the nurse is going to ask you, So why are you here today? And, you might say, well, my throat hurts. I've had a bad cough. I'm not feeling great. I'm feeling kind of weak. Just don't have any energy. I just generally don't feel good. If at this point the nurse said, oh my, well, let's schedule you for surgery. I think that you might have something very serious. Let's put you on the schedule for Friday morning at 8 o'clock. Can you be at the hospital Friday morning at 8 o'clock? You'd think, no, wait a minute. I haven't even talked to the doctor yet. You don't even really know what all my symptoms are. I am not showing up Friday morning for surgery. I have no idea what you're doing. And then if that's where they left it and they scheduled you and you walked out of that office, you'd be thinking, yeah, I'm not showing up to surgery Friday. In fact, I'm probably not even going to take their call when they call to follow up and find out why I'm not showing up. This makes no sense. And that's the same thing that our customers feel when we jump too quickly to tell them all about how we solve the problem when we don't really. Hang on. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So rather than that, the nurse would take our statistics and ask what's wrong, and then the doctor would come in. Then the doctor would start saying, well, how long have you had this problem? And he'd start doing his diagnosis. Where does it hurt? Does it hurt here? Does it hurt here? Have you had this before? All of those questions that they go through. And the doctor might come up and say, well, you're going to need to stay in bed. I've got a prescription I'm going to call in for you, and then we'll follow up in a couple of weeks. Well, this feels good. The doctor spent some time. He figured out what was wrong with me. So now I'm very comfortable taking my prescription and staying in bed because I feel like I was heard. I feel like they understood me, and that this is, I came to him because he's an expert. And that's why I wanted to have that information. So I would be very comfortable at that point in time taking the doctor's advice. Well, that's exactly what we're doing with our customers. Remember that deals are always closed in the discovery or the diagnosis. You will find the problem, and you will find how intense the problem is and how this problem how it's impacting the person you're talking to or their business. And that's how you know when to make the diagnosis and when to be able to help this person. And when they know that they are far more likely to take your advice, and you'll have a closed deal. So let's think this through. The current state, you first have to find out who they are. And hopefully you know this stuff before you call them. Who they are, a little bit about the company. So for us, it would be like age, height, weight, blood pressure, temperature. For the customer, it would be how many employees do you have? Are you, what type of business are you in? What's some of the things that you're creating? So if you're in manufacturing, what are you manufacturing? Who do you distribute to? Those types of things. This is kind of the status quo or the current state of the customer. Then you're going to start asking, because we're obviously talking today. So if you talk about your one thing, then what does that one thing solve? So let's say back on the one thing I talked about with the diagramming, I would say in that case, so tell me, do you have several engineers that are drawing diagrams or mapping out your infrastructure? How's everything working with that? Do they get all of their work on time? Are they staying on the same version? Do you have problems with people not being on the same version? So this is where you start asking some of those diagnosis questions. And it's digging deep. Don't just end with one or two questions and think, oh, I got it. A lot of people get what I call happy ears, and they hear, oh, there's the problem, and now I'm going to give them a solution. They want to jump out and say, oh, well, that's interesting because this is how we solve that. This is what we do for that. And you haven't really dug in deep enough. So resist the effort to diagnose early. Keep asking questions. Ask at least 3 levels of tell me more about that. And how is this affecting you? Keep going down deeper and deeper. Examine and find that pain. When you find the pain is going to be the problem that they're experiencing. And they're saying, yes, our people are not working on the same version, and it's causing quite a bit of problem. Well, there's your pain. And then you would say, what types of problems is this causing for you? Is this trouble going to market? Is this security breaches? Does your software go down? Tell me a little bit more about what this is how this is affecting you. So now you're getting the impact. This is what's going to sell the deal. And the more the impact and the more pain that's in there, the more likely that this deal is going to close for you. So if it's, in these words on medical terms, let's just say if it's life-threatening, then yeah, it's going to sell. It's going to close because you have something that you can help them fix, and you're able to fix that for them. And then you go down, at this point in time, you know what their problems are. You know what the impact is. Okay, now it's time to say, let me tell you how we've supported some of our other customers in this same situation. So this is where we talk about how we help them. So we know what the business problem is this is something that they're willing to fix, because some people are not necessarily willing to fix things. They just like to complain about things. We probably know people like that. But most people, if they're going to have this conversation with you, they're willing to fix it. And you just have to confirm that I'm going to show you how we support some of our other customers in this. And looking to really get taken care of right away. Is this how important is this for you to take care of this problem right away? Now, the impact is how it's affecting their business, their time, their money, their security, or their life. It can be affecting a lot of those things. Just want to make sure I'm sharing my same screen. If you got the right screen still, where it says diagnose. Okay, we'll go ahead and keep going. If you're not on this screen, let me know.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
on the diagnose. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I just clicked over on something else and I thought, oh, I hope I didn't change that. All
No,
right,
you're
perfect.
still there.
Great. So remember always that when you're talking to a customer, remember that they are a victim, not a villain. If you start saying, well, you really messed that up, and I think that you made a bad decision with your software last time, or your bad decision on the insurance that you bought, or whatever it is, if you start saying to them more that they're a victim, they get very defensive and they are less likely to accept help. But if they're in a victim mode where, oh, that must be really terrible, that must be a tough thing for you, and you're sympathizing with them more, and you're understanding that this is something that they need to fix and it's actually impacting them in a negative way, then they're open to receiving help. So remember, don't make them a villain, make them a victim. Always speak that way. It's more respectful as well. One more story. Well, there might be another one after this, but one more story for right now. This is one that I like to tell my team when we're talking about getting to that pain. Picture a customer coming into a bike shop, and he walks into the bike salesman and says, I need a faster bike. And the salesman says, well, you've come to the right place. We have some of the best bikes here. Let's walk over here and I'm going to show you our fastest bike. And he goes through all of the reasons why this bike's so fast. It's got the best gears. You can pedal on this easier, and it keeps your body upright so that you're being able to be very aerodynamic and in the right position. Well, the customer is like, yeah, this is great. And this is absolutely your fastest bike that you have. And the sales rep is like, yes, this is absolutely top of the line, the fastest bike that we have. The customer's, this is wonderful. Okay, I'm going to buy the bike. He buys the bike and leaves. My question is, did the bike sales rep do a great job? He sold him the very best bike that they had. It was probably the most expensive sale he could have had. My answer to you would be no, he did not do a good job, because the customer walked in and said he wanted a faster bike, and the guy stopped and sold him a fast bike. Now let's redo this. The guy comes in and he says, I need a faster bike. And the bike sales rep says, well, wonderful, you've come to the right place. So tell me, why do you need a faster bike? What are you using your bike for? And the customer says, well, I'm commuting to work, and I moved, and I'm much farther from work, and it's taking me a lot longer time to get to work. And with bad traffic and rain and snow, I'm just often late to work and I need to get there sooner. So how late are you to work? How much behind are you now? Well, I'm about 15 minutes late every day, and my boss has just let me know if I don't get here on time and I don't get here earlier, I'm going to lose my job. Well, that would be terrible. Like, how long have you worked there? The customer, you can see where I'm going with this. We're digging deeper into why they needed the bike. So this guy walked in looking for a faster bike, and really what he's trying to do is not lose his job. So the one thing that you're selling to him is not the faster bike. In this case, you're selling him a method to help him keep his job. What really happened here is the customer needed a car. And by just not listening to him and not giving him that advice and just jumping in and being all excited because you had got those happy ears and you heard, oh, I need a faster bike. The first thing you did was tell him all about your fastest bike. You never really learned what the problem was. It's very likely that a day or two after this guy sold him the bike, he would come back into his bike store and say, I'm still late for work. But because the bike sales rep hadn't dug into that at all, he would have no idea how that is impacting him. So when you're going in to talk to a customer to do that diagnosis and to figure out what's going on, just remember, don't sell the bike. Don't quit just because you think they know what they want. They very likely don't even know what you have to offer them or how that might change. The biggest thing about sales is we're selling people things that they generally don't really know is available. And so if you stay on the level of what they know is available, you're not going to get into the level of the things that you can really help them to accomplish in the ways that they can grow and to know the different things that are on the market. So those are the things that we're here to do, to educate our customers, to help them to make better decisions, to help solve problems that they have. What we're really selling to our customers is desired outcomes. So our customers don't buy our products. They buy their desired outcomes. That's what they're buying. You need to know what their desired outcome is. When you're having a discovery meeting or one of those diagnosis calls, if it's the same call and the first call that you have, then you only need to do this end goal part. But if you reschedule this time and you get together with the customer and you say, okay, let's meet on Thursday. We'll take 30 minutes in the afternoon and we'll go through some of this and let me tell you a little bit more about, what we do and how we support our customers. And then start that call. So you always do remember this ACE. So first, always appreciate the time that they're taking today. Just when you start the meeting, you want to stay in control of these meetings. So I appreciate you taking time with me today. And then C, I'm going to confirm that they have this time set. So this would be, we have 30 minutes on the calendar. Are you still available for 30 minutes? And if this happens to go over a little bit, are you open for that? Or do you have a hard stop right at the 30-minute mark? Then this is the most important part here, the end goal. Always say at the beginning of these meetings, well, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our product today. I'm going to learn a little bit more about what your needs are here. And at the end of this call today, if you feel like this is something that would be beneficial to you, to your company, then we're going to plan to move forward and take some next steps to figure out how we can get together to support you in this and help you fix some of these problems. If you don't feel like this is the right product or the right time at the end of this call, that's fine. We can part friends and you'll have some information about some newer products on the market or newer things that are available to you. And if this comes up in 6 months to a year, then great, you'll know who to call. You're looking for them to agree with you that if this is successful, that they will move forward. It's important to set this up front because at the very end, you can ask them. So are we moving forward? Are you going to be purchasing this product or are we parting as friends? They know it's coming, but they can be calmed down during the meeting because they know it's coming at the end. So they're just going to focus and listen. You're not going to be pushing them into selling anywhere through the meeting, not till the end. So that helps them to be open to listen to your conversation. The next thing is you want to go over your agenda. So this is what we're going to be covering today. Would there be anything else that you'd like to cover? And then they can add things if they want. Then they also know you're in control of the meeting. These are the things we're going to talk about. Then you're going to restate the current state. So in our last meeting, this is what we talked about. You have this problem, you've got this, blah, blah, blah. So that you're stating it again and say, so tell me a little bit more about your problem. And this is where when you restate this, it brings them right back to where you were before. So make sure you take good notes and write down where you were before so that they're right back involved in the conversation. So make sure that when you have these conversations too, that you talk about the customer. You talk about them, you talk about their needs, and you don't really take a lot of time talking about you. This may sound weird, but they really don't want to hear about you or your product or your service. What they want to talk about is them. They want to talk about their problems. So let them talk about themselves. Listen for the clues, listen for the things that they're saying that line up with how you can help fix that problem. Take notes. Don't cut the customer off. It's really important. I hear people so many times, the customer will say something and they're just waiting to jump in and say something back. Or they'll give that, oh yeah, well, this is how we fix that. Let me tell you a little bit about that. And when you stop the customer from telling, you miss so much information. That's, again, don't sell the bike. Let them keep going and dig deeper and deeper. At least get to 3 levels of, tell me more about that. And how is that affecting you? And what are the things that you'd like to see changed about that? What's working? What's not working? Several questions. And you can have these prepared in advance. When you quit too early, you might not find the true need. If they say, this is something that we would really like to get changed, we have a goal to have this implemented and to make this change. Goals are likes. When someone would like to change, it will close someday. It will close, but maybe not for 6 months, maybe not for a year. But when you find an impact, it is a powerful impact, then it is a need to change, and that will close now. These are the things that are going to close faster. So always look for the needs and the problems and the impacts. Those are the things that are going to really get your deals closed. And then we've got an old saying that's, I don't know if you guys say this as well, but call out the elephant in the room. So it's like, there might be a big elephant in the room with you. Don't pretend like there's not an elephant in the room. It's just, that isn't good. So the oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear. And the oldest and strongest kind of fear is the fear of the unknown. As you're going through this conversation, your customer might start thinking, this has got to be expensive. I can't even imagine how expensive this is going to be. Maybe I got onto the wrong call. I don't know if I can spend this much money. In their mind, they might be coming up with something like that. If you don't address price on that call and you say, well, let's schedule another call where we can go through some pricing options and things like that. In their mind, they're like, as soon as they hang up, this is definitely going to be expensive. They didn't even want to talk about it on this call. That's how bad this is going to be. And so they start creating something in their own mind that will stop them from moving forward. So even if you don't discuss price or how long something would take to implement, or what are all the steps that are going to be involved for them, you know what those things in your product are that would kind of scare people a little bit. Don't let them think about it too long. Don't let them go on to the next call, because they will start coming up with things, reasons why you didn't tell them, and they're going to make it bigger than it actually was. And if you've ever had someone not show up and you thought, we had a great call, I don't know what happened. They said all the right things and we had the best conversation, but they just didn't even show up. It might be because you either didn't find the pain or the impact, or maybe you left something unsaid and they scared themselves out of moving forward at all. So always try to cover those things. It just helps you to be more, to be in a safer position to get that next call, to have them show up, to have them actually do the things that they now need to do because it's their turn. So now we're to the end of the call. This is where the end goal comes in. You've done your demo, you've done your discovery, and this is where you say, You're really asking the customer if they're willing to take a journey to fix this problem with you. So at the end, it's like, well, thank you so much for joining today. We've gone through our solution and how our solution might be able to help you with these problems, restate their problems, getting this and this done. And this is how we align to support other customers. Hopefully you learned some things today. So tell me, is this something that you feel would be beneficial for your business or beneficial for you so that you can get some of these problems resolved? Are you ready to start looking on ways that we can get this implemented in your business? This is where they know they have to say yes or no. If they say yes, then we're moving forward to get this deal closed. If they say, oh, it's nice to see, it was really great information, but yeah, I don't know that it's something that I can actually implement. That's something where they can say, well, it might be maybe 6 months to a year from now. Then at that point in time, you need to ask some more questions. Tell me more about it, because you may have missed the impact, or you may have really missed something important. If they have a problem that's big enough, or they're just not sure that they can secure things up, then it could drag out 6 months. If they have something that's very important to their business and very critical, and you've been able to identify that, then they will be willing to go with you. And you're not going to close every deal, but this is going to put you in a better position to have that conversation and have the customer commit to, yes, we're going to take care of this. We're going to move forward. And the last step here is to practice it. And I call this the muscle memory of sales. And I'm just going to take a quick minute to tell you another story. I know this seems so long. I feel like I've been talking forever and you guys are probably bored to death, but just we'll keep going here. When I was younger, I used to be a swimmer, and I was a good swimmer, but I was not a great swimmer. And we would work out. I was on a swimming team, and we were competitive. We'd swim 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. I worked so hard, and then we'd get into a swimming meet, and I'd always be like second or third, and it was usually third. And I really wanted to win. I wanted to be up there in that top batch. And so I would work out harder and I would go longer, but I was always coming in second or third. When I got done with that season, I thought, I've got to change things. And I was looking at the coach that was coaching a lot of the people that were beating me. And I thought, I wonder if I could swim under him. I wonder if he would take me on and I could join his team somehow. So I ended up, it was a little bit, and I worked through it, and I got on this team, and I was so excited to start learning from someone that was really great, that had great swimmers. And I was excited to jump in and just really work hard. And the first day I showed up for swim practice, he didn't even let me get in the water. He said, no, we're going to stand out on the side here, and we're going to learn technique, and you're going to practice it out here, and you're going to learn the right strokes. And so it was, here's where your arm goes in, here's where it goes out, here's where your strength is, this is what you do, this is where your head is held. And we went through this over and over, and we watched film and we watched video. And then finally, after several weeks, he let me in the water. But then he said, you cannot swim laps until I tell you you're ready to swim laps. I don't want you even swimming somewhere else. I was getting a little worried that I was going to be out of shape. But he's like, no, if you're not going to follow the instructions here that I gave you, then no, there's no point in us working together. So I got in the water finally. He said, I want you to go down to the other end of the pool and back. I want you to go slowly and work on all of the strokes and all of the techniques that I taught you. And I would go down and back, and he would make a couple course corrections and say, change this, tweak that. I would go down and back. After a while, it was getting pretty good. And then he said, all right, now do 10 laps. And then it increased and it increased. As I started getting into my regular workouts again with this new technique, and I had it very well ingrained now, and I had to really think it through, I could tell I was faster. I could tell I was moving quicker and easier, and I wasn't as tired because I was adopting the right technique. So at the end of the next workout session, we were getting excited to go to our first meet for the year. And we got in the water and we were swimming like crazy, and I knew I was faster, and I actually won. I came in first, and I not only came in first, I came in first by a long ways. The technique was tough to learn. It was interesting and different, and it felt weird. But after I started doing it and practicing it and sticking with it, it became my new muscle memory. And I never went back to the old way of swimming. The old way started to feel awkward and weird. And I was winning and I was successful and I was winning easier and I wasn't as tired at the end. And that's the same way it is with sales. Something new that you're going to adopt, a new conversation or a new way to speak or a new technique, oftentimes feels awkward. And you might say, you know what, yeah, that's just not me. I just don't feel like that's the way I can do it. And you go back to your old technique. But if you go back to your old techniques and you don't try something new, you'll always continue to be the way that you are right now. If you want to grow and you want to excel, you need to pick up new techniques. Now, I am not the only one that can tell you different techniques and different styles. There are a lot of people out there that can teach you things, and you need to always be learning. Learn something from me, learn something from another speaker, learn something from another person that you work with, learn from your coworkers. There's little things that you can pick up and adapt from different people. And when you implement them, they become part of you, and then you reinforce them and you become better and you become stronger. And then that becomes natural to you. Winning sales really is approaching each of our customers with the idea that we're going to help them solve a problem or achieve a goal. Remember, we are not selling services or products. We are helping them solve problems. That is what we do. So that is it. Thank you so much for sticking through this. We will open up now. I guess I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn on my camera again. Hang on. Here we go. Back. So we'll open up now, I guess, for questions. Is that what you want to do next?
Yes, definitely. It was a fantastic session. I really enjoyed it. And I love the part where you talked about practice, because I feel that's what makes you perfect. I practice music too. And in the beginning, when I used to sing, I used to feel my voice is like a croak. And it is the same thing almost my music teacher told me, that the more you practice and the more you visualize yourself singing well, it will turn out well. And one more thing I want to add before we open up for questions is that something which you had written about, that you are not here to make money, you're here to make a difference. And you really made that difference today with what you've spoken to us. And that's what I keep saying about my community too. A lot of people ask me, why is it not for profit? And what is your revenue model and how will you make money? And I say the same thing, that if we can impact lives and make a difference and help make women successful in sales, we've done our job. So I really resonate with you on that thought of not making money, rather make a difference. So with that, I think I will leave the floor open. RP had said she wants to ask a question, and then we'll go on to Kelsey. So RP, since I don't know your name, I'm referring to you as RP. I'll mute myself. Please go ahead.
Hi, Chitra. Thank you. Thanks for that. Thank you, Lanette, for the wonderful session. It was really great to learn all those things. So I'd like to understand about elevator pitch. Where does it fit in and how to frame it?
Yeah, so elevator pitch is, first you have to find that one thing, because an elevator pitch is short. And so you would need to say, when you're talking about an elevator pitch, literally it's got to be 2 to 3 minutes at the most. And that's pretty long. I mean, you need to try and keep it as short as possible. Just when people say, so tell me, what do you do? That's where you go to the one thing that you do. So we help customers solve these problems. And so you don't want to tell them all about your product, because you're assuming that they're going to make the connection to how that solves a problem. And people don't do that. So you talk about the problem that you solve. We solve this problem. Tell me, what product are you selling?
I'm into software solutions.
Okay. And so with your software solution, I'm sure you know a problem or a reason why companies would want to buy your software. So in your elevator pitch, reference that and reference the type of customers or the type of companies that you help, how you help them. And that's really your elevator pitch. So always just talk about that. This is what we do. And that's a quick statement. The elevator pitch works well when you're asked what you do, but it also works very well in your first contact. And so when you're reaching out to someone, they do want to know, what are we talking about here? You need to keep it short. And so you'd say, So for me, it would be, hi, I'm Lanette with Scorpion. We're a software platform that helps you with your marketing so that you can see exactly where your advertising spend is, and you can see what your impact is for the money that's being spent. Because ultimately what we really do is we bring you the best personalized customers that you are looking for directly to you. So you're not competing for other people for this business. These are people that are coming directly to you through our services. That is what we do, so, that's just kind of rough still. But then if you're in a call with a customer, say, how are you currently getting your leads or your customers? Then you turn it back to them and say, so how are you resolving this? How are you working with this? So it's a good place to say that quick elevator pitch and then turn it back and let's talk about you. Now let's talk about how this is working for you and tell me more about that.
Thank you
That
so
helps.
much. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Thanks a lot. Appreciate.
Yes. We have another question.
We'll go on to Kelsey. I think she raised her hand, and then move on to Prajakta Patil. So Kelsey, go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Lanette.
Hi.
Hi. It was very nice to listen to you. I love your voice, and I loved your stories.
Oh, well, good. Thank you.
Yes.
I tell too many stories.
Especially the last one, because I was thinking about this coach, Rich Litvin. I do not know if you know him, but he also talks about you move fast by moving slow.
Mm-hmm.
And that was perfect on that point. But that said, I actually implemented the one thing here on this call on my own service, as I was actually busy today with my dream avatar. We, as Chitra know, I rebranded my whole brand, and I had to dive deep into my dream avatar again, and what kind of problem do I solve? And I had a bit of struggle with that. And I know what problem I solved, but not in a way that, okay, I can now really pack it together to really go back to all the time, like guide a conversation to that in my videos and in my messaging. And I actually think I have that one thing now out of this conversation, and I would love it if you would like to hear it and give your feedback on it.
Yes, I was just going to say that. It's like, I would love to hear it. So tell me what you do.
Okay, so so I help mothers with teen daughters who feel disconnected from each other and not understood anymore. And then I help them to rebond in a new way so that her teen does not shut off anymore, and a mother can be there for her and guide her with ease and grace, so that they can live together more in love, friendship, and connectedness, no matter what the future holds. So that is what I'm doing. And what came out of the one thing is that what I actually sell is the mother-daughter bond for making sure you are on the same plane, understand each other, so that problems can be avoided, support can be provided, and a better future can be created for the teen daughter.
That's great. And when you're thinking about it too, what happens if they don't do this? What happens to that relationship between the mother and the teen? I mean, you kind of think about some of those things too. And if they don't,
the consequences are frustration, not understanding each other, emotional buildup, emotional diseases, coping with food. Oh, this is my alarm. I have alarms for everything. Habits.
Yep, habits.
Yeah. And and of course years of struggle, of feeling unworthy, of, oh, my mother did not understand me, I'm unworthy, and the mother is in the frustration of, I have not been a good mother and I cannot reach out to her, and there's guilt. So there are a lot of consequences involved, and if that can be avoided, then the teen will be more in her power, and the mother also.
One thing I would add then into your one thing that you do, just listening to what you said there.
Yeah.
When you're talking, you're talking to the mothers to sign up for this, most likely. You just said the mothers don't feel like a good mother.
Yeah.
That is the pain that's going to hit home to someone that's going through this.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, you know what I feel like, you understand me. So I would add that in. I help mothers who feel like they're not being a good mother because, and then go from there. Because I think if you add that little bit of
Feeling.
pain, that helps. Yeah, that feeling, then it says, you understand me. And this is something, because I feel like I'm not a good mother.
Yeah, they
Because
don't
I'll
feel
bet you
good
almost
enough
all of them feel that way. Yeah. So I would add that in. You've
and
done
you
a great
probably
job.
know because you're a mom of so many.
Yeah. Yeah. You're always, when the complication, it just gets bigger. It's just always like you're not doing the right job. But anyway, yeah, I would talk about that a little bit, because that's really some of the problems you're solving, is helping mothers who feel like they're not being a good mother to do the best they can to help their kids.
Exactly.
So add that in there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
So great question and great answer by Lanette. Kelsey, you're doing some wonderful work, and whether you're a mother of 8 or mother of 1, I'm the mother of 1, and she is on this call. She's in this meeting. She's listening in. And whether you're a mother of 8 or 1, I think the pain remains the same, and the problem to address remains the same. That am I a good mother, and am I doing enough to bring my children up in the right way? So wonderful work. Congratulations to you on that. We move on to Prajakta. She had a question. Anybody else, please raise your hand. Richa, Ophelia, Seema, anybody has questions? We move on to Prajakta.
Hi, Lanette. How are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for this wonderful session. And I had just one question. Like when people, when I go on a discovery call, and sometimes I think, like you said, that I didn't pick their pain point or something like that. But there are some people who really very confused about whether to take it or not, and they keep it we will tell you later. So how often we should do a follow-up with them, and should we do a follow-up with them? That's what my question is.
Yeah. So when you're saying you get to the end of your call and they say, well, this is great, but we're going to probably look at this later this year, or okay. I would ask them, do you feel like at that point in time, and we don't always feel like that, but do you feel like at that point in time you have enough of their problem? You understand their problem enough, and that they know that you understand their problem enough, that this is something they should move forward on quicker? Or do you feel like remember what I was talking about, this is a goal or this is a need? It's something, this is a problem that has a big impact, depending on the level of the impact that you find. So tell me, what do you sell?
I am a life coach and I deal with the relationship issues. So I have a 10 weeks of program for the people, and I end up on a discovery call where the people say that they are not so sure about it, and they are going to take a time of a day or two. And when I call back, and then again they say the same. So I just wanted to ask you, how often should I follow up with them? Should I take it for 2 or 3 times, or should I keep it following up with them or something like? So that's what I am unclear about.
So before you let them off the first call, I would make sure and clarify that you understand their pain. And so, like we were just talking about a minute ago, where we said the mothers feel like they're not being, helping mothers to feel like they're good mothers. When you have that kind of pain, you feel like, I can't put this off another day, because 6 months from now I'll even be a worse mother, and that's not going to help. I'm not going to fix this. So you need to look at what is the pain that you help people overcome. And you need to make sure that they know that, so that they're not telling you, oh, I'll do this in 6 months. Because when they realize this is something that they really need to address sooner, you have a higher likelihood that they're not going to be pushing out. If they do push out, if you do say, okay, we're down to the end, I've done everything I can, and we're still saying, call me down the road. Then when you do call them down the road, I would not give up because they said, call me down the road, until they say, I am not interested. But if they keep dodging you and stuff, if they're saying, call me down the road, then the next time you call them, say, hi, this is, so for me, I'd say, hi, this is Lanette. I'm just following up with you. We had talked about, and then reiterate their pain. We talked about some of the problems that you had, that you were trying to get some resolution or whatever those problems are. I'm not knowing exactly what that is. It's hard for me to put that into words for you. Wondering if you're ready to look into addressing these issues, or you're ready to jump in and see what we can do to service you, to help you support you in getting some of these things resolved. Don't ever say sell, always say support you. See if there's any way that I can support you in getting these problems handled.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you, Lanette, for the same. Yeah. So one thing which I realized with our conversation is I need to bring like, can I leave them with a question mark or something like that? Because if I cannot create a pain point at that point of time, like sometimes it happens that we go with the conversation and we go with the flow and the people are talking about it. And when I talk with the people feel free to talk to me and they go with the flow. But when it comes to take a action, they really don't know what to do. So that's how the people feel stuck, whether to take a action or not. But can I leave them with a question, which is like, do you wanted to take it further, or like, do you wanted to be with a pain?
Yeah. So you can leave.
मम्मी को बोल दिया कि मैंने कहा यार कि
Shita.
मेरा आया नहीं अभी.
Yeah, so you can leave them with that pain, or that question. Absolutely. I would also say that you can ask them very, very clearly, when you're calling, say, I'm continuing the call because we had discussed that this was something that you wanted to take care of. I certainly just want to be here to support you. So again, don't make them be a victim. Like, if you just answer me and, then I would stop calling you because then they're going to be defensive. But just say, I'm really just looking forward to supporting you and helping you through this. If this is something that you're not wanting to address at this time, I don't want to continually call you and cause more stress in your life. But if this is something that you are looking to, that you're really seriously interested in fixing or working through, I'm more than happy to call you again. Then you're kind of asking them for some form of commitment, because they're saying, by yes, you calling me, we will work together. And if not, then they can then address it and say, no, I'm actually not planning to do this. Then you can know this is done. But until they actually say that, if you don't qualify them and get them to commit to some level without making them feel like they're being bad by not doing it, it's just like you're hurting yourself, that kind of thing. That makes them the villain again. So just ask for that. I am here to support you. I would really love to help you through this. Is this something that you are looking to address in the next 6 months? If so, I'm absolutely happy to call you back. But you don't want me calling you continually if you aren't, and I can respect that. So just let me know if this is something, I'm happy to call you. So that way you're just opening it up for them.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much. You have answered so many questions of me, and I'm very thankful to you. And Chitra, I wanted to thank you to adding me up to this group, and I was able to attend this training. I am so looking forward for the trainings as well.
So a lot of thank yous flowing here, and everybody's really feeling good. One thing I want to add here, Prajakta, that you're in a good space, because I think almost everybody requires relationship advice. So a relationship coach is one who is in like a sunrise sector. So on an average, over 80% of customers require at least 5 follow-ups before we can close the deal. So don't lose heart. You are getting there.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
You're getting there. Okay.
Thank you, Chitra.
Welcome. And we move on to Lavita. I think we have time only for one or two questions more maximum, and then we will close. So Lavita, moving on to your question, and then one last question. So anybody else has a question, that's it. After Lavita, one more question and we will close. So you please ask your question, Lavita.
Thank you, Ms. Lanette, for in-depth, like how to do the sales. And one thing, like I'm very new to sales cycle, and one thing resonated with me is like, how do we approach like a doctor? You don't directly prescribe them the medicine, but get into the root cause. So I just wanted to ask you, like, is there any video anywhere where I can watch and learn how to do this sales call with my potential customers? Yeah.
Yes. So I'm trying to think. There are. Let me get a couple together, and I can send some links for some good training videos on that, because I have a couple trainers that I love. I think they're fantastic, and they do a really good job with that. I also have a video. I'm just trying to remember, because each of these are different trainings. So I might have one specifically on that, but I'll send a couple over, and then I'll share that with everybody, or whatever's the
You can
easiest
share
way
it with me. I'll pass it on.
Okay,
That's really very generous of you, Lanette. I'm really glad you made that offer, because I think that's a space where a lot of people require help and support. And just for information here on this forum, since we are all part of the Sales Mentoring community, we will be starting the academy very soon and offering training workshops there too. And I will look forward to Lanette's support there. And definitely she can send me the videos or the training workshops right away. I'll share them with you. Thank you, Lanette, for offering to help here.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else?
That is really the most critical part of the sale too. So
absolutely, the skill sets. So the academy will help. We are planning to launch that in January with workshops as well as training modules. So it will be self-paced learning there. And Lanette has already been on that journey. So I will be looking for her advice and support there.